What's up, guys? Keyshawn and Chia here, back at you with another new alternate universe video. Now, this is going to be part 1 of what if Deku was a punk. Now, this is a kind of what if idea I kind of was thinking, and I just said, you know what? What is the most 18 plus that will have cuss words, violent language, and most likely people just having a bloody bad day, but also a bloody good day? And I thought, hey, why not make What If Deku Was a Punk? Now, this is going to be my own version of how I think Deku will be a punk. And I know I'm not the first one to make this What If idea, but I just want to kind of change it up in a way, in a sense. So, yeah, this is going to be What If Deku Was a Punk, part 1. And, yeah, and of course, if you like, let's get this up to 50 likes, maybe 20, 40, and then I'll do another part. But other than that, let's get this started. So how would this happen? How would Deku turn into a punk? And what quirk will he have? Or is he going to have a quirk? Well, first we're going to start with Deku pretty much being born. Now, Deku will be pretty much being born, but he will have a passive quirk. This passive quirk where the doctors could not detect or even find out that he had a passive quirk because it would be sealed away or just kind of just not showing. But this quirk, passive quirk, will be a punk quirk. Now, this punk quirk will pretty much alter him and change his whole life very differently. And I'll say physically and mentally. But let's continue going. Pretty much, after Deku growing up, Deku will be very different from the other kids. Such as he will pretty much cut his hair, have it a mohawk sense. He will have very different tendencies from other kids, such as he will be, I'll say this, his passive punk quirk will make him as a punk, but he will be extremely intelligent. I'm talking about super genius level intelligence, but he'll be a punk. So, yeah, how would that work? I know what y'all asking. But Keyshawn and Chia, how would that work? Punks not regularly use their heads and stuff like that? No. Punks can be in many things. It's just that regularly we all just see punks in specific ways. Sorry about that, but let's continue. Basically, yeah, he will be very super intelligent, but he will be a punk kind of sense. Now, as Deku growing up, he will be extremely intelligent, but he have, the personality as a punk, such as he will love doing rock and roll. He likes to cause a little mayhem, and sometimes he likes to just be a punk and do punk things. Now, of course, what about Deku and Bakugou relationship with each other as kids? Well, they will be perfectly, you could say, brothers in arms, with Deku punkless style and reckless not reckless. You could say reckless behavior, but not at the same time, you could say. Well, yeah, reckless behavior, but also his super intellect of intelligence. And, of course, Bakugou with his explosive personality and stuff, but also with his, being cool with Deku. They'll pretty much be brothers in arms. But the only difference is Deku is an intelligent punk, and Bakugou is, you could say, some sense of not a punk, but we can call him punk, based with his personality. But pretty much, as time goes on, Bakugou will get his quirk, while Deku, of course, doesn't get his quirk. Well, not of a quirk, you say, at least yet. Now, this is where Bakugou will pretty much get his quirk and pretty much will say, look, Midoriya, I have got my explosion quirk, which Deku will be like, oh, cool, fuck yeah, which he would say as a kid, you got an explosion quirk? That's awesome. Kashan, which, they have their same nicknames. This is where pretty much Bakugou will be like, what is your quirk? Which, this is where Deku will pretty much say, oh, I haven't got my quirk yet. It guess it didn't kick in or not. Which, this is where Bakugou will pretty much just laugh. Will just pretty much say, like, hey, that sucks, but, you eventually going to get your quirk. Which Deku would be like, yeah, I hope so. Now, this is where pretty much Deku wouldn't really go to the quirk doctor. And I'll say since Deku is, like I said, intellectually smart, he will pretty much try to figure out how to awaken his quirk, or pretty much to develop it, you could say. Since this is where Deku will go in his room, and I would say Deku room will be punk slash intelligent. So he will have like a chemist lab in the room, but he will also have like the punk poster of guitars and all that stuff. And this is where Kid Deku, keep in mind still as a kid, will start researching and trying to figure out how to unlock his quirk more. Now this is where he'll pretty much take. I would say this will be the course of his couple of weeks and months. Well, I'm gonna say a couple of weeks. Yeah, not even weeks, days of him learning of how to unlock his quirk, trying to figure out what is his quirk, and try to see if he could get a quirk. Now, this is where Deku is, of course, as a kid, but he's in the dark web, and he makes a secret account so no one doesn't come to his house and abduct him or all that shit. He pretty much is researching, getting like trading bitcoins, getting certain materials and stuff to pretty much to get a quirk. Now this is where he finally gets the materials and make this unique dose that will help him get a quirk. Now, of course, he haven't tried it on anything. Well, he kind of did. He tried it on a mouse, his little pet mouse, and his pet mouse has pretty much evolved in a sense. It have pretty much gained intelligence, but also it have gave him a quirk, which Deku starts smiling, saying that's all he needed, it to see if it will get a quirk. But the mouse has a unique quirk where the mouse can turn into any animal that it wants, such as a bear, or a tiger. Like it has the possibilities. But it only turns into a bird, but it slowly evolves anymore. But this is where Deku injects himself with the thing he made, and he begins to not feel anything, you could say in a sense. And at first he thinks, this is pretty shit, and he just throws it, and he says, that's fucking useless, and he starts to get frustrated and stuff. But this is where he start not feeling at ease and stuff, and he start feeling wobbly and all that. And as he's pretty much is about to fall, like this is where, as he's pretty much sweating confusely and doesn't know what's happening to him, this is where Inko comes in and says, "Oh, Mizuku, I made you some breakfast." And this is where she's coming in. Deku's pretty much down on the ground, out, cold, pretty much already out, which she doesn't know what's happened to him and trying to check up what's wrong with him, and puts him in the bed and begins to start trying to get some ice and stuff. But then this is where Deku wakes up. This is where Deku starts feeling a little different than usual. He feels much more energized, more corpus, more, feeling, you could say, bloody great. He start feeling absolutely amazed. Now this is where he starts to try to figure out if he got a quirk, and this is where he tests out, start, using his head saying, I don't know what quirk I have. And this is where he starts, thinking, saying, man, I could really use a bloody bat right now so I can just, trash stuff because I'm frustrated. Which, this is where a bat appears in his hand, which he's, at first, a little bit questionable about it, but he starts thinking, he got a quirk. He can, do creations, such as creating weapons and stuff, which he's freaking, amazed about it and all that. And he's like saying, this is fucking cool. I got a quirk now, And this is where he starts, starts using having the bat, changing the bat into nunchucks, playing around. And then he starts, thinking creative and switching it into a gun. Then he switched it to an RPG. Then he switched it to a grenade. And he's just switching it into a bunch of stuff that he can think of and that he knows. And like I said, Deku has a passive quirk that is a punk, but also makes him super intelligent. Well, super, dialect, which his mind is high open, so he can think of anything to create. Now, after that, Inko comes back, running to check if Deku's okay, which Deku pretty much tells his mom that he's alright, and she doesn't have to be too concerned about him, which she pretty much says that, don't make her worry about that again, which Deku pretty much tells his mom that he's perfectly fine, and he promised to not make her, concerned like that again. Now, let's do a couple weeks. Let's get to the start of that. Well, let's start getting to the high school now, you could say. Now, this is where Deku's much older, and like I said, Deku is a punk, but a super intelligent dialect punk. So, pretty much, Deku would be wearing this fit, as you see here, and he pretty much will have the whole piercings and stuff. And he will pretty much have his nails black, and pretty much have tattoos on his body, kind of like on his neck and all that. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Let's continue. But yeah, pretty much he would look like this, with the whole tire, and pretty much not wearing school uniform, wearing wherever the fuck he wants. And when I say he makes stacks, I'm talking about he's loaded, which his mom doesn't even know he's rich. I'm talking about he's in Bitcoin riches, so his drip is out of this world. So this is his drip. But pretty much, this is where we're gonna have the start of the high school. So this is where Deku and Bakugou transitioning, and pretty much they're best of buds. They're friends. They're like, I hit your back, you hit my back. I got your back, you got my back. I trust you, you trust me, kind of shit, So yeah, but pretty much this is where Deku and Bakugou will head in and stuff, and transitioning in school, and they will immediately already be talking to each other. Well, immediately be in the same class, and they pretty much have the same seat with each other, like together as brothers. So yeah, but yeah, in a sense, and pretty much just just chilling with each other. Now this is where Deku will pretty much be with Fako and telling him that his quirk is pretty much this, and that's what Deku thinks, but he has a much more powerful and OP quirk that I will explain to y'all later. So pretty much, this is where Deku would just be chilling and stuff, and in the classroom at lunch talking with Bakugou, and Bakugou and Deku would be talking to each other and pretty much having a conversation. Bakugou saying like, "Hey, me and the guys are going to go to this cafe later on. Do you want to go, Deku?" Which Deku is pretty much thinking about it and just saying like, "Yeah, I think about it. I think about it and stuff, all that." Which Bakugo is telling him like, "Come on, let's go to this cafe, bro. Like, it's gonna be all cool and stuff, right?" Which Deku reluctantly agree and just says, "All right." Which, like I said, Deku's a punk. He regularly doesn't do cafe, but he says, "All right, whatever. I'll go with you." So this is where Deku and Bakugo will go and leave the school, but before the class ends and stuff, this is where Deku will see a girl, and this girl will be having yellow hair and having two buns. He will notice her from afar, and Bakugou will pretty much, this is where we all know this will be Toga. Well, not really. Well, yes, it is going to be Toga, but this Toga will look a little different. This Toga will be in the transitioning of turning into a villain, you could say, but right now she's just a high school student. Not no one really knows her, no one really paying attention to her, but she's pretty much will have long hair before she puts her hair in the buns and stuff, and she will pretty much not have glasses. Well, have glasses and not showing herself. This will Deku will pretty much notice her and pretty much have a attraction to her, you could say. This is where Baku will look at what Deku's looking at and says, "Oh, so you have a keen eye for that girl? You like her?" Which Deku will have a little blushy on his face, you could say, and says, "Me like a girl right now? Man, I got too many problems. I'm a loose cannon. Man, I have no problem. I have no liking to any girl." Which this is where Baku jokingly says, "So you're gay?" Whoa, bro, I didn't know you like that. Which this is where Deku would say, "Fuck off, Deku. Fuck off, Bakugo." Which he would he'd not say "fuck off, Bakugo," but he would say "fuck off, man." You know damn well I like girls. Then this is where Bakugo will trick him again and says, "So that means you do have attraction to a girl. That means that girl over there." Which Deku would unnoticed, he says, yeah, I do, which he would pretty much smack his face and say, fuck, which Bakugou says, ha, got you, which this is where Bakugou will put a little sauce on the mix now and pretty much get up and walk right to the girl and pretty much says, hey, what is your name? Which this is where Toga will be a little bit shy. And it says, my name is Toga, which this is where Bakugou will point over at the desk over there. It says, oh, you see that boy over there? Yeah, that's my bro, Deku, or should I say Mizuku. He has a liking to you. Which she will start blushing and saying, him? Which this is where Deku will look away and not make eye contact with her. And this is where he will pretty much says, yeah, he really has a liking to you and attracting you. I don't know what's unique about you, but he likes you. Which he pretty much walks away and saying, well, good luck with that information, and pretty much head back to Deku saying, so how did I do? Which Deku will be pissed off at him, but Baku would just be laughing. Now, let's continue on. Now, pretty much this is where Deku and Baku will be in the calf, and they will pretty much be chilling with the other group of delinquents, which I would say Deku would be in a part of the group of delinquents because of his, like I said, his passive quirk. But he wouldn't really be doing ruckus. He would be doing ruckus sometimes, but he wouldn't really be doing it all the time. He would just be chilling with them and stuff. That's why the kids will call Deku as a delinquent with them, but he's not really, but he is. But the kids call him like the devious one, like the smart one, like the ones on that, like Deku is the nigga with bad levels. You could say the dark black force energy levels of intelligence and shit. Like he's smarter than everybody in the whole class, and he's a delinquent. So you could say they call him the evil villain. They call him the villain, which you could say he could have been, but he's not. But pretty much this is where Deku is chilling in the calf, at the calf area, calf shop. Just made calf, maids are serving them. Bakugou, Deku, and the group of boys are all at the round table, drinking coffee and shit, or like some of them drinking juice or all that stuff, and they're just chilling, and laughing. And this is where Deku is like chilling with Bakugou, and they're laughing and stuff, making jokes and all that stuff. And this is where Deku begins to like think, and he just says like, which Bakugou says, what else you quirk can do? Which I know you can create stuff, but can you create like gold or anything? Which Deku really haven't thought about it. He just says, let me try. And he pretty much put out his hand and he creates a golden watch, which everybody's like, whoa, is that diamonds with it too? Which Deku was like, yeah, let me try something else. And this is where Deku starts creating gold bars, multiple gold bars, duplicating them, then putting them on the table saying, so does anyone want to have some gold bars? Which they begins like saying, oh yeah, and they start, each one grabs one saying, oh yeah, we're rich, baby. Which this is where one of the cafe maids comes in and says, is there anything else y'all like? Which Deku pretty much will create bands of money rolls and hand it to her saying, this is for you, this is a good tip. Which she's like, oh no, I couldn't accept this. Which Deku's saying, no, this is for the whole store, the owner, and for everybody. Here, give it to the store owner. Tell him, this is for charity. And Deku gets up, starts laughing, and the rest of the boys start laughing and leaving too. Now, this is where pretty much I'm gonna say Deku was in a gang with Bakugou, because I'm gonna say Bakugou made a delinquent gang in their school, and they pretty much is like the top dogs there, including Deku. He doesn't fight, but if he would fight, he wrecks shit up. That's why he doesn't be in the fights like that. But and he's highly intelligent, so he doesn't really give a shit unless they're like doing some mass shit. But this is where one of the other delinquents will come in or call Bakugou, letting Bakugou know that one of their territories that they own is getting well, no, not really get. Yeah, you could say one of their territories is getting attacked, and pretty much they need assistance. They and one of the rival gangs are pretty much challenging them to fight at this location. this is where pretty much Bakugou is saying that it's an all out war. It's a war right now, and asking Deku would he join him, which Deku was saying, oh, he loves to have a ruckus and like a big fight, and so Bakugou would smile and say, well, it's settled. It's time to go kick their asses. Which this is where they wait at night. Now at night, this is where Deku will put on a jacket and pretty much starts heading out and pretty much making sure his mom is asleep. Well, no, he's pretty much telling his mom he's going to go for a jog, which Inko, believes and trusts him and says, okay, honey, make sure to be safe and come back. Which Deku says he will, and he goes out. Now, this is where he goes out and he walks with Bakugou, and this is where Bakugou will walk, and this is where the rest of the group of the delinquents will come out, and they start heading out for the big fight. Now, this is where they meet at a location, and it's going to be like a abandoned train track, abandoned area where it used to be construction work, but it's all gone. And it's just like an open field with like the building is still, broken down. But pretty much this is where the other group of delinquents saying like, hey, Bakugou, we're here to take over your territory and they're pretty much giving him a proposal of him giving up his school, and it will belong to this school, and pretty much he gives up his status and stuff, which Bakugou telling him to fuck off, and including Deku, which they both stick up the middle finger at them, and this is where they start all having an all-out fight with their quirks and stuff. Now, this is where they all start charging each other, having a fight. Deku runs in with a bat, a wooden bat, and he start whacking people and stuff, and he's switching weapons, using a bow staff, smacking people and stuff, and it's just a whole out fight. Delinquents using other quirks. One's using an ice quirk, like a water ice, like a little ice ground slippery quirk to make the ground slippery. Some delinquents are slipping, while others using like a fireball where they can create fireballs throwing it at other ones, while another one is like having like stretching with 4 arms, or having stretching abilities, stretching and stuff by expanding their bodies. Like it's just a whole out crazy fight. Like imagine like unique quirks, like quirks that you think is like would not be beneficial is now beneficial, and the quirks that's useless is useful in this, and quirks that's not useless is pretty much useful. So it's just a whole out delinquent quirk battle, and Baku's using explosion and stuff. And this is where one of the delinquents has a quirk where they can shoot a massive rod out their hand. Now this is where pretty much Deku is fighting and stuff, and this is where Bakugou sees that one of the delinquents are saying like, "Die, you bastard!" which it's aiming for Deku. Which this is where Bakugou is running and saying, "Caution! Watch out!" Which this is where Deku's looking and he sees it coming straight to him with an extremely fast speed. Which this is where Deku is like, everything is slowing down to him. And as it's still coming, he's like, damn, how am I supposed to get out of this? I'm gonna die. How am I supposed to get out of this predicament? If only I can teleport out of this way. Teleport out the way, or somehow, which before he thinks, he teleports out the way. And it pretty much hits another delinquent, which pretty much the delinquent hits to the ground and falls, and he's pretty much coughing up blood and just out of it, which everybody's like, holy shit, what the hell's wrong with you? Which the one that did it says, I didn't mean to, I didn't know it was that powerful, which everybody's saying shit, and everybody's just going, and one of the delinquents that got hit is a part of Bakugou's gang, so everybody's scattering, running away and shit, while Deku just doesn't know what the hell just happened and how did he do that. But he pretty much just goes straight to the person, and he's pretty much pulling out the thing and holding his chest, saying, don't die, don't hey, I got look at me, you're not gonna die, which he's pretty much coughing up blood, bleeding out very fastly. And this is where Deku is thinking again, saying shit, I wish I had a quirk that can heal wounds, or a healing quirk, which as he's thinking, he starts healing him and healing up his wound, which Deku was like, what the hell is going on? what in the actual fuck is going on? Which this is where Deku was confused and trying to figure out how is he doing this. But he starts to like, he says, I think about this later, but right now he's healed up and we gotta get out of here, because this is where the cops are all coming in, and after hearing a lot of explosions and shit, this is where the cops coming in. But pretty much they run and they get out, and the person that got healed by Deku is pretty much saying, yo, Deku, I didn't know you had a healing quirk. Thanks, man, you saved my life. I thought I would die. Which Deku didn't know he had a healing quirk too, saying, I thought I had, like, a creation quirk, but I think my quirk is something else. Which Bakugou is, thinking with Deku, saying, do you think you have a quirk where you can pretty much use your imagination to, or like pretty much warp reality or bend things to your will, you could say? Which this is where Deku is thinking, saying, hold on, let me think then. Which this is where Deku looks at his hand and he begins to start transforming his hand into like a machine. Like his hands start transforming into like a weapon and stuff. And also transforming into like technology and all that. Which Bakugo was saying, holy shit, are you like a machine or something? Which Deku was saying, no, it's my quirk. I think I have the will to bend reality, or basically make anything into my will, or whatever I want. Which Bakugo is just amazed and dumbfounded. Sorry about that, let's continue. But yes, pretty much Bakugo will be dumbfounded and amazed that Deku has this quirk, or some type of quirk like this. This is where pretty much one of the other delinquents will pretty much say, okay, Deku, how about make a toy gun that shoots bubble bullets. Make a gun that shoots ice bullets. Which pretty much Deku imagine it creates a gun, and he pretty much shoots it like at a wall, and it pretty much shoots ice bullets that freezes the wall. Which they're all amazed that Deku has this power. Now this is where Deku was amazed too, and saying, wow, this is pretty fucking awesome. Like, which Deku was saying, which Bakugo was saying, damn right is awesome. Which this is where Bakugou will say something, crazy, and say something stupid, saying, hey, I wonder, can you like change my quirk and make my quirk pretty much be like unique, that I can like shoot laser beams at my eyes or something? Which Deku thinks about it and says it could be possible. And this is where Deku will touch Bakugou, and Bakugou will pretty much say, I don't feel anything. Which Deku will say, try to shoot laser beams. Which this is where Bakugou will shoot laser beams out his eyes. Which the group of delinquents with Bakugou will be fucking amazed, including Deku, realizing that he can give people quirks, or alter people, DNA, and give them quirks and stuff, or give them some unique quirks. Which this is astounding, amazed. Which Deku was amazed himself too. But this is where Deku keeps it a secret and tells everybody else to keep it a secret. Which he pretty much doesn't keep them secret, he just erased their minds. And he didn't erase Bakugou's mind, but he erased everybody else's minds and kept Bakugou. So Bakugou is the only person who knows, because he trusts Bakugou. But pretty much the next day, Deku heads to school, and pretty much Bakugou is heading to school with Deku, walking, and they're talking, and they're just, laughing and saying like Deku pretty much got a fucking OP quirk, and saying that he can pretty much do whatever he wants, he can make whatever he wants, he can get whatever he wants, he can do whatever he wants. Which Deku, is saying like, yeah, but that seems like a drag, because Deku's not trying to do all that extra shit. But pretty much they go sit down and they start class, and everything goes by simply and normal. This is where something different happens, and Deku pretty much meets with, at lunchtime, Toga, or should I say, Deku goes to Toga and pretty much sits at her table and says, can we eat together? Which Bakugou is looking at Deku saying, oh, that's my man, making moves on, a girl. Which Deku pretty much, wants to get to know Toga better. This is where Toga, will at first be shy, and then she will say yeah. And pretty much they will have and start eating with each other. This is where Deku will start to get to know a little bit more about Toga, and Toga gets to know more about Deku. Deku talks about how he has a passive quirk. Not really having a passive quirk. He doesn't know he has a passive quirk, an intelligent quirk, but pretty much he talks about how he talks about his quirk, where he just says it's a simple creation quirk, and he pretty much talks about how he loves rock and roll and stuff, and how he likes to do some crazy stuff, but he also likes to enjoy reading all that stuff, which she's amazed by it, and she talks about herself, and they're starting to get to know each other better, and pretty much all that. Now pretty much after that, this is where Deku heads back to his seat, and this is where he pretty much says that can they hang out later, which she says yes, and they have pretty much a moment of their time. You could say a little talk. Now, this is where pretty much Deku will head home, and this is where Deku will pretty much head home. Well, not really head home. Yeah, I would say this is where Deku and Bakugou will head home, and pretty much that's it. Now, we're going to kind of get a little bit start of the... Well, not really start on anime. We're going to do one more day of the high school thing, and that's pretty much going to be it. And we're going to get the start of the anime, you could say. Now, this is where the next day Deku heads to the high school and stuff, and pretty much this is where Bakugou will be with him, and this is where they will pretty much head into the classroom and sit down. Now, this is where after school, all this is over. This is where Deku will head to a Pacific store place. Well, yeah, Pacific coffee shop, and this is where he will pretty much see Toga working there. Well, not really. This is where Deku will go to a bar, and he will go to a unique punk bar and all that stuff, like a unique biker punk bar where it's punk bikers, all the people who's like trouble, menaces, bad people, people on demon time half the time. Yeah, he would go to those places because that's his place he vibes with. Now this is where he would be going there, pretty much chilling and stuff, buying alcohol. He's underage, drinking alcohol and stuff, and pretty much just, or no, not drinking alcohol. Well, yeah, you could say drinking alcohol, and just pretty much chilling and stuff, right? Which he's not gonna get drunk off of it because I say this right now, his quirk. Since he has this quirk, this you could say dominant imagination quirk or will, it's like not as Luffy's quirk, but it's unique. It's like wherever he imagines or think of, it comes to reality. You could say you could say he has a reality warping quirk in a sense where he can warp himself, alter himself, and all that. But pretty much, this is where he would. Sorry if you hear all that truck noise. I'm at work, but let me continue. Pretty much, yeah, he will pretty much just be in the bar drinking alcohol, and the alcohol wouldn't really affect him because, like I said, the quirk, and he pretty much would just be chilling there, drinking alcohol and just all that. This is where he will see his classmate Toga pretty much serving at the bar, serving people drinks and stuff and all that, and just trying to make a living because her life funds and all that, she lives by herself and she has to pay for the house thing. So yeah, pretty much so. Now this is where Deku will walk up to her and say, "Hey, what up, Toga?" Which pretty much she would pretty much be surprised that she see Deku and asks what's he doing here. Which he's pretty much saying, oh, he regularly just comes to this bar. He didn't know that she works here. Which she says, yeah, she works here. She's just trying to make some money to pay her rent in the house. Which Deku asks, oh, you live by yourself? Which she pretty much will say, yeah, and they're having a little conversation with each other. Now this is where I would say one of the bikers will say, hey, little cutie, make me a drink, being all rude and aggressive and shit, right? Which she would say, oh, coming our way, which he pretty much say, hurry up now, which he would say some like very rude words, like you damn brat and shit, which this is where Deku would be like, oi, I think you need to calm down there, lad, which pretty much this is where the biker would be like, what you say to me, kid? Which this is where he will walk up in Deku, and this is where Deku will walk up on him and says like, I told you to watch your damn fucking mouth and treat her with respect. Which this is where the biker begins to about to throw a punch, and this is where Deku will dodge his punch and pretty much like do an uppercut up on his chin and pretty much sock his shit and knocking him out. Now this is where the whole bar fight would kick in, and everybody would just start having a fight with each other, and Deku will be in the mix as well. Now after that, Deku pretty much hurry up and get out the bar, and Toga will get fired. Even though it's not her fault, she'll get fired, and Deku will feel bad, and he'll pretty much create money, and he doesn't want to show her his quirk, but he pretty much like pretends he's getting some stuff out his pocket, and he pretty much gives her like 2 stacks of rolls of money, which she's shocked and saying, "You carry this around?" Which Deku says, "Yeah, I carry this money around just in case if I have to get some important stuff." And she's thinking what kind of important stuff, but he pretty much gives her the money and says, "Here, this should be more enough to pay for your apartments. But I see you later," which he pretty much waves at her bye, and she waves back at him bye. And this is where the whole crushing for Deku of Toga complex kicks in, you could say. But yeah, that's pretty much that. But let's get to the start of the anime a little bit, and we're pretty much gonna hold it off. But pretty much let's continue. The next day, Deku heads to school, and this is gonna be the start. This is where the teacher comes in and do the whole thing, and we all know how it goes. And this is where Bakugou would say his signature, saying, "Yeah, no, y'all gonna make it. I have a good quirk." But this is where he will bring in Deku too, saying Deku also has a good quirk. So I don't know how y'all other losers gonna cut it. Which Deku pretty much tells Bakugou to calm down, saying like, no, they might have potential to cut in to be a hero. Which he's giving people encouragement. Which everybody's saying, "Oh, thank you, Deku. You're a real kind person." Which Deku says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I might give you encouragement, but doesn't mean I'm a kind person." Which they all laughing and saying, "Yeah." Which this is where all they joking and stuff. But pretty much this is where they do see a couple people sign up for the UA High exam, but they also see 2 main people, Deku and also Bakugou, which they both give each other a fist bump that because they know they're going to do the hero exams, and they pretty much go, and they pretty much pack up their stuff and start going, leaving after school. Now they take the shortcut. I'm going to say original. Bakugou will take the shortcut with Deku as original canon. And, well, Bakugou wasn't really there, but we're going to say, you get what I'm saying. But pretty much they start going under the bridge, and, Deku's talking to Bakugou and stuff. And this is where Deku has been altering himself, such as giving himself sharp senses and stuff over the time. But this is where he has a sharp sense of a hearing, of sensing of a killing instant, and immediately push Bakugou out the way and dodge out the way while the Sludge Villain comes in and says, "Damn it." This is where Deku will teleport to Bakugou and pretty much teleport away to the house. Which Bakugou will be shocked and saying, "When the hell did you have teleportation?" Which Deku will say, "Just now." Which Bakugou will be like, "Ha ha." Which Bakugou says, "What the hell was that?" Which, this is where Deku was explained that that's probably the escaped Sludge Villain that escaped. Which Bakugou will say, "How do you know that?" Which Deku says that he has his connections, and he will tell them about it later. But right now, he just had to get them out of there. Which Bakugou asks Deku that he couldn't finish him off. Which Deku's saying, yeah, he could have, but he doesn't want to, really ruin his secret like that because he never knows who's going to come. But other than that, Bakugou shrugs it off and says, okay, and they both just go to their separate house. And yeah. But this is pretty much part 1 of What If Deku Was a Punk. And if you like, let's get this up to 20 likes. 20 or 30 likes, and I'll do part 2. But other than that, my name is Keisha Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.